Hello anybody, I'm Don Pollock and welcome to the History of My World, where we look back at the fun stories and memorable moments we've shared on the 6 and the 11 o'clock news. And today I'd like to go way back to my first year in television. This is back in the late 70s, and this is what I consider a milestone piece. Now, and I consider it a milestone because this is the first story that I put on the air that was edited on videotape, which means that all of the sound effects and all of the music and all of the narration hit perfectly and matched with the visuals in a way that wasn't possible before that. As a matter of fact, when I first started in TV, I could not believe how crudely and how primitively reports were put on the air. I mean, first of all, you had to do it on film, and so you put the film on a 16-millimeter projector, and you ran that, and some engineer in the control room was following along on a script, and at 11 seconds he had to push a button, and my recorded narration would come on. Hopefully he pushed the button on time, because if he didn't, then my voice was out of sync with what was being seen on the screen. And if you had music, oh, well, then that was another button on another recorder that hopefully wasn't too loud, that would overpower your voice. The bottom line is, the only time you got to see what your report was going to look like was on the air. It was mixed live on the air. So the advent of videotape was a quantum leap ahead. You could precisely time everything and have it come out exactly the way you want it to. And that was what we did with this report. It was shot on film, but we transferred all the film to videotape, and I was able to edit it on videotape. And another thing that was notable about this story is that the job that we were highlighting no longer exists. Take a look.
The photographic image. A bookmark in time. Mileposts in youth's passing. A treasured commodity, and providing it is the job of this man. Ron Bidwell has been a freelance photographer for 7 years, but perhaps his biggest challenge is his current job, that of a children's photographer. Working out of a local mall, he is commissioned every day by dozens of parents eager to preserve their child's evaporating youth. But that's easier said than done. Photographing children requires a special skill that goes beyond exposure settings and focal lengths, a skill in being able to deal with his infinitely varying subject, both of them working together, seeking the formula for that one magic moment.
About the biggest thing is adapting to the child, trying to get down to his level or her level depending on their age. And once you do that, then you construct a level between the two of you that gives you a groundwork. As far as getting the picture, you do everything you can think of and then think of something new.
In some cases, it comes easy. The magic is there for the asking, ripe and ready to be picked. In other cases, it might take a little more effort to get the desired result, a measure of patience, and more than a little old-fashioned charm.
The easiest age group to work with is about 6 months to about 1.5, or getting up into like a 7 and 8 year old, something like that. The 4-year-old and the 2-year-old are about the worst. They get totally, they don't want to have nothing to do with anything of it.
And it's with these where the children's photographer really earns his pay. The tykes for whom posing for posterity has about as much appeal as eating spinach in their Sunday school clothes. But to the children's photographer, this is all in a day's work, and being able to instantly bring out a happy face is all part of his skills. However, if alternative measures are needed, there's always the coochie-coo under the chin method, although that's not really recommended for children over 2 years old, for reasons that soon become apparent. In extreme cases, the wisest approach is always the trusty Tongson Park method, the principle that every kid has his price, and it's usually about 45 cents. But even then, if it doesn't look promising, the thing to remember is that success is just a smile away. And often the child himself, on his own, finds something to bring on that happy face. Don Pollock, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
See See, it doesn't matter if it was 40 years ago, you can always depend on a pie in the face for a cheap laugh, or an ice cream in the face, as the case may be. You can tell, as a matter of fact, that story was shot on film, because when you were shooting on film, you needed bright, hot lights to be shining on you in order to get a good image. And I was only holding that ice cream for about 60 seconds, and you could see it was melting down the side of the cone, you know, just from the heat of the lights there. So luckily we got the shot in time. I'd also like to point out that little boy, I did the arithmetic, I think he's about 44 or 45 years old today, and I don't know if he's watching or not. But to his wife and his kids and his family, just a bit of advice: if he's ever in a cranky mood, just get him an ice cream. That'll cheer him up. Better yet, let him throw the ice cream in your face. That'll cheer him up even more. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this look back at the history of my world. You can see this story and others that I've done on my YouTube channel, Don Pollock's World TV. So check that out and hit subscribe. Hit subscribe. I'll come over and make you a tuna fish sandwich. How's that? A deal? I'll be back next week with another look at the history of my world. I'm Don Pollock, and I'll see you then.